What results when we put it all into place? What happens? Of course, as I mentioned earlier, our wish list here becomes a have list. We get optimal behaviours from employers, most importantly, and optimal behaviours from employees. We need funds to pay for the system. So what results? I want to give you a clinical analogy. I love comparing with other professions. What we're going to do to transition and revolutionise physiotherapy is not new. It's been done by a lot of other industries already. So why don't we just learn from them and gain our confidence from that? Let's use an analogy with radiology. Does everyone remember how expensive x-rays used to be? I'm thinking a couple in the room are young and don't. How about we talk to the people who do remember? So 30 years ago, I remember doctors talking about, oh, look, we won't send you an x-ray, that's too expensive, we'll wait, we'll leave that last case scenario. You know, see how this goes, see how this goes. If necessary, you get an x-ray. It was super expensive. Anyone online able to remember that x-rays were really expensive?
No one's commented yet.
No one's commented? Please do comment if you do. No joke.
Does.
They were rare. Yeah, good. They were rare. Why were x-rays expensive, and what was done with that money? Innovation. Good business. What did they develop, radiology, with the money from all those expensive x-rays? CT scan came next, right? And then they were super expensive, but now they're not very expensive. What came next? MRIs, fMRIs. I've recently read about the next evolution beyond fMRIs. It's quite amazing. It's because they need the money to provide the best care. So what I'm getting at is if x-rays were not expensive back in those days, we would now have no better than x-rays right now. We would have no MRIs. So that's the sort of analogy, that's a comparison as an industry. They wouldn't have had the money to make them. They wouldn't have had a motivation or reason to invest in innovation. So what I'm going to ask you to consider, and imagine that it's 30 or 50 years ago, you only know x-rays, that's all you know. MRIs haven't even been invented. So you got an x-ray report from a client, and you're looking at that x-ray report, and then someone slots in beside it an MRI of the same client, an MRI report. What would you think of that information? I can tell you now, you'd say that's unbelievable. There's no way you could understand or know that inside someone's body without cutting it up and going in and having a look. Present musculoskeletal industry knows how to get solutions like x-rays used to be. There's no further advancement yet than x-rays. They haven't made a dent in musculoskeletal health yet. But of course, put money into innovation like RM, and we now have RM results. So what happens if you look at an RM clinical result compared to mainstream results? You put them side by side, what do you get? What do you see? Something unbelievable is what I often get told. So this is what happens. This is what money's for. It's for innovation. It's for progression of the industry. If you've all seen online, I expect, have you seen Jessica doing anterior disc mobilization? And within one session, that significant debilitated shoulder impingement improved right up to 170 degrees abduction, 175 maybe. That doesn't look like normal mainstream every day. This client with a hammy strain had this improvement with their hammy immediately with a C7 and T1 release in front of that class that I was taking. And it is all, for the most part, not related to pathology. Has anyone seen this video online? Can you see that MRI there? Can we see the pathology looking not pretty? Would we agree? Pretty nasty, really? Yep. So this is an athlete. The specialist said definitely 100% out of this sport for life with an injury like that, with the sport he was doing. The squad physio said, look, definitely out of sport for the season. We'll see how you go after that. This athlete kept rehabbing with that physio. That physio did his best for 3 months. No significant change. They did come and get RM, a C3-4 release. Within 2 weeks, had him full training, back to sport, pain-free. He got selected in his first 8 for his age group and won head of the river in his rowing event that year. The results are long-lasting. He got selected in his Opens first 8 crew in his college the year after and won head of the river for his college in an Opens level, an Opens category. Only getting RM tune-ups, nothing else was treated other than C3-4. So what we've shown, and even in retrospective analysis, is the vast majority of pathologies aren't relevant to function and pain. Some studies show that already, but the thing that I'm showing, the thing that I'm highlighting, is that the mainstream is still to use a pathoanatomical diagnosis for describing what's useful to help someone. But some studies show that the pathology isn't relevant. So it's sort of, there is a mismatch in standard world already. Okay, but there's no mismatch when you analyse and do an RM diagnosis, because it's about function and pain being fixed because the dysfunctions are fixed. What does this mean when we get pathologies like this? And this isn't one-off. This is our everyday clinical life. So please have a look online. We've got dozens of examples of this. And if you come and observe, you'll see dozens on a daily basis.
It's come through, it says, pretty amazing, gives confidence with their treatment and dispels the idea that they're always being limited and restricted by their conditions.
Okay. Online, please go to your private practitioner education page, tab 4. If you haven't seen it already, the way to do it is with this RM flowchart, and the way to do it is with using a whole body thorough assessment with the standardized assessment forms. So that's freely available to you. This checklist for clients to follow is also freely available. Why do I provide so much free information online about RM model, about RM systems? Well, I think about it and I say to myself, if I wanted training, if I wanted new information, if I wanted new education, I want to know what it's all about before I invest heavily in it. So that's why I put it free online. Is Rick online at the moment?
He is.
And Rick, do you mind unmuting and speak up for us?
Yeah, can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you. And I'll just ask you to speak up as well, please, Rick.
Sure. Okay.
Now,
Um,
go for it, Rick. Have you got some, you're going to explain your experiences for us?
yeah, I've been an IMCP for 4 years. Before learning IM, I was seeing about 20 to 30 patients a day. And you can imagine what sort of quality of life that was. No energy when I got home. Did not want to talk to anyone after work. And I often wondered if I would be like that for the rest of my career. And then when I saw Michael's seminar, I quickly took up the opportunity. Initially, I was more excited at the clinical skill and the concept than its business part. As I gradually mastered the clinical side, I realized best clinical outcome using RM was not possible without putting up my fee, simply because I needed to spend quality time with my clients. And it was challenging. There was I need to implement things in stages, and it can be quite challenging at times. I remember 6 months after my IM paradigm, I nearly doubled my fee. And then my net income was still the same, but I spent a lot less time treating clients. My team members' skills improved because I provide them time on training and system development. And then I think about a year ago, Michael and I taught a IM paradigm course in Taipei, Taiwan, and I started setting up my second business in teaching. I also started implementing more IM in my business, including like 1 hour initial and adhering to IM checklist and make our clients to do marketing for us by following the IM checklist. Yeah, and the rewards are worth it. The end result is I generate the same consult income as before, but I work a lot less hours. My employees are kept busy and making more money for themselves and for the business. And the business overall doubled the turnover, the gross turnover over 3 years, while I halved my contact time. And then at this stage, a couple of my staff, a couple of my physio staff, they are considering buy into my business, and this means I can gradually retire clinically. I can gradually retire can gradually retire and let them, step in, and that's a good career pathway for them. So my employees see there is a good career ladder for further advancement, both clinically and business-wise, and they are happy to stay working with me. And in my business, there's been very, very low staff turnover. So my business has been going on for 8 years. And half of my physio staff stay with me for 4 years and still going. So we don't have staff issue at all. In fact, we constantly have new graduates or other physiotherapists looking for employment at our practice. So we don't have like a staff shortage at all. And then I think the most important part is I now have more time for the family, and I'm working on the business rather than working in the business. Because of IM, I can finally spend priceless time with the family, and I can go to the gym 3 times a week. I can sleep in 3 days a week in the morning, not having to worry about work, and I can help my team to reach their potential. And because I'm well known locally to practice this unique treatment method with unbelievable results, young physio graduates keep knocking on my door for employment or work experience, and as I said, we have no staff shortage. So that's my experience with IM. Honestly, I'm not an intelligent person. I'm sure a lot of the listeners here are more intelligent than I, but I was open-minded enough to embrace the paradigm shift. So if I can achieve the level of success, I'm sure you guys will be even more successful. Thank you.
Really appreciate that, Rick. Great comments. Well done. Congratulations. I'm going to ask for questions, please. Any online questions for you, Rick? You can read the chat box as well, Rick, I'm sure. And does anyone in this room have a question for Rick? No? Right, nothing jumping out? Okay.
I think someone asked about the EPC, having the EPC clients having to pay extra and how to communicate with those EPC clients. In my team, because we have 5 physios on our team, we let a new grad handle the EPC clients, so to get them experience, keep the young grad experience, and for the more experienced physio, we charge recharge it, like a gap on top of the ETC, the Medicare payment.
Good point. Thanks, Rick. Right. Thank you very much, Rick. Really appreciate that.